everybody. Thank you for joining us. A couple of reminders as we get started. For those seeking the program video and audio from the camera and microphone here, we will have that available in the Clemson Media Library as well as through the ACC. For those, whenever the line is open, wishing to ask questions, as a reminder, please turn on your video and identify your name and affiliate prior to asking questions. But before we get to that, we will open it up for opening comments from the head coach. Coach, take it away.
Okay. Good morning. We're super excited about this opportunity this week. This is college football at its best. Two top 5 teams, and when you sit down and start breaking this thing down, it's about what you would think. With 2 top 5 teams, just a bunch of really good players on both sides, and this is again very small margin for error type of game, and I know we'll have to play better for sure and cut out some of the mistakes that we've had, especially giving up some points to the other team. But it's fun. It's a great matchup. Notre Dame is they're ranked number 4 for a reason, and incredibly well coached, disciplined, play extremely hard. Offensively, it starts with our offensive line. They're massive. These guys are huge. They're all returning starters. Incredible experience. The quarterback has been there a while, and he's a great player. He's savvy. He's instinctive. He can make the throws. He's a really good runner. The tight ends are special. Big physical guys that they use a lot of different ways. There's probably 4 or 5 different personnel groupings, so they create some problems. Just from a game plan standpoint, all the personnel groupings, the formations, the shifts, the bunch sets, all the play action. They do a really nice job. Again, really well coached, very well coordinated, and they don't just have good players. They're very well coached, and then got some receivers really emerging. 88 and 11 and 3, 0. All these guys are really coming on and making some plays for them. But just a complete team, every sense of the word. They're built to run the football. They got 3 really good backs. They've all made big plays, both in the run game and the passing game. But again, it all starts with the guys up front, and then defensively, these guys are as good as you're going to see. These are unbelievable, talented guys up front. Backers are fast and physical and smart. One of the best safeties you're going to see in the country in 14. Both of these corners have a lot of experience, really good players. It's just a complete team in every facet. But again, that's what you would expect when you see a team that's ranked 4th in the country. And so it's going to be awesome. It's going to be exciting matchup. Look, I've never been to Notre Dame, so this is just from a college football standpoint, something that have always wanted to do. Never competed against Notre Dame until 2015. So, but Notre Dame is obviously their tradition is just unbelievable, and such a historic program and brand, and just excited about going and competing against the best at their place in a historic environment. So excited about all that, and look forward to it. Our guys have had a good week to this point. It's been obviously a little different with the scheduling and stuff like that, but everybody's dealing with the same thing. We're making the best of it. Today is a big prep day for us as a staff, and we'll get back at it tomorrow. But we got a good start Sunday night, and yesterday was kind of a Tuesday-type practice for us. So anxious to get back with them tomorrow and kind of pick back up with our prep, and we'll head up there, I guess sometime after lunch on Friday, and kick it off Saturday night, see what happens. So excited about it, looking forward to it. Any questions?
Hey, Coach, it's David Hood with TigerNet. A first trip to Notre Dame like this, do you take the team into the stadium on Friday and kind of let them walk through like you would an ACC championship game, and then The second part of that is Tim Bray told you what to expect, or something to do or see, and how will you react to seeing touchdown Jesus and then that fabled place?
Oh man, I'm excited about it. Yeah, of course, Tim Bray. Tim Bray's been, he's been talking about this game for 2 years. So yeah, he can't wait. He'll definitely be there for this one, and I know that's a pretty cool thing for him to be a part of. But yeah, we will go to the stadium on Friday, and it depends. When we go to certain places that we haven't been, we'll usually swing by the stadium, check it out. We don't typically do that if it's a place we play a lot, but usually when we go to Syracuse, for example, because that's a really unique setting, and if we've got a bunch of guys who haven't been there, we typically will stop off there because that's different. And then if we're going somewhere that we've never been, we'll usually swing by and just walk around a little bit, and so we definitely would do that. Because we've never, not many people on our team have been there, so we'll definitely do that. Look forward to that. And as far as touchdown Jesus, I mean, just excited to see it.
Hey, Coach, it's Trevor Gross from CUTigers.com. It's easy to look at DJ's numbers from Saturday and be impressed, but I was equally impressed with just his game management, getting out of bad plays, finding his hot reads, avoiding sacks. And a game like this on the road, is that going to be just as important as him making the big throws?
Oh, there's no question. I mean, that's the key to quarterback play. There's a lot going on. This isn't just this isn't 1990 all over again. Where you just you're just making decisions in the pass game. I mean, these are decisions that are happening post snap all the time at quarterback in 2020. There's a lot going on. I mean, it could be a run, it could be a screen, it could be a pass. It could be a quarterback run. I mean, there's a lot that's going on. Plus, when it is a pass, processing, what's going on coverage-wise and knowing your progressions. So for a young guy like that, I mean, he did an amazing job. He really did. Certainly some things that, again, most people wouldn't really even know, but we do as coaches. Where he can improve. But he did an awesome job. Made some big time plays. I think for him that he missed a few easy throws that he'd like to have had, but he was 72% completion, and we wouldn't have won the game. They made it a throw game. They're just, and I don't blame them. Smart by them to challenge us that way, and our guys stepped up. Made some huge plays in the passing game, and got ourselves back in the game, and then defensively settled in the second half. But DJ was tremendous. The one sack that we gave up was not on the line or DJ. We ran a wrong route, and he had to hold the ball. So that really was the one sack, and again, that wasn't anything to do with him. But he extended plays. Obviously, the 4th and 1 was a huge decision on him. He missed that earlier in the game. We still got it, but it was really there earlier. He's just going to continue to get better. So a great experience for him. This is going to be a different animal this week. Obviously, going on the road, and this is a really special team. This is a very, very good defense that's got elite talent and plays with elite effort. And so we've got to match that and play clean and with good crisp execution and physicality.
Dabo, this is Pete at AP. Are you anticipating getting any of the defensive guys back, like Tyler, Mike Jones, and how's Trevor doing in quarantine? Is his attitude been good?
Yeah, well, I could probably answer that better if we were practicing today, but probably won't really know until probably tomorrow on a couple of those guys. They're doing well. They're progressing hard, and probably know more tomorrow once we can see them there. But as far as Trevor, he's doing great. He really is. He's in the meetings. He's zooming in and all that stuff. So he's doing well. He's just anxious to get out, and I think he gets back with us either Thursday or Friday, and so he'll be with us. He'll travel with us, and he just can't play because of the cardiac back to play protocol that's in place. So just no way to get through that in time for him to play the game. So he should be back in practice after the game, and then ready to go against Florida State.
Dabo, this is Matt with the State. Just having Trevor on the sideline, what will that be able to do to help DJ out, and what do you feel like his presence will mean on the sideline?
Well, he's an incredibly knowledgeable guy, and he's been there. So I just think he'll be able to bring a good presence to DJ, and he's got a great mind. He's got great eyes. So he's going to be Coach Lawrence, and Skalski's going to be with us as well. So we'll have Coach Lawrence and Coach Skalski this week. So I told him wasn't going to take them unless they were going to be productive coaches for us. So that'll be their roles this week, and they'll both take a lot of pride in that.
Just to follow up, what are the things Trevor has to do to clear the isolation, like the requirements, I guess, to rejoin the team?
Well, he's got, it's 10 days, first of all, from when he had his symptoms, and that was kind of, early I wasn't sure of the exact timeline as far as, what day it was going to be, but so it's 10 days, and then you have, there's a protocol in place, of the cardiac piece, and that just takes, you can't do that all in a day. You can't do it all in a few hours. Even if you feel great and you're perfect and like he feels, it doesn't matter. If he was going to do my job, he'd be right back to work. But I'm not running routes and dodging 6'5", 300-pounders, and things like that. But when you're going back to play football, that's why they put that in place. So it'll take him a few days to get through that, and so we anticipate once we get back from Notre Dame, he'll be back in practice, and so that's really it. Just the cardiac protocol, but the 10 days is the initial part.
Dabo, this is Gene from Charleston. How much would you say that Ian Book has improved since you faced him in the Cotton Bowl?
Quite a bit, and I thought he was really good then. He has complete ownership, just like Trevor. Trevor was a freshman and obviously a good player as a freshman, but he's not anywhere close. Where he is today is light years ahead of where he was as a freshman. Just complete grasp of what you're doing, understanding, confidence, the intricacies of the position, the game within the game. Again, his instincts have always been really good, but his savviness is even better. He knows when to run. He knows how to extend plays. His arm, I think he's very confident in his arm. The game has slowed down for him, just like it does for every young player as they go through their career, and especially those who have success as they go through. So he's seen a lot. He won't be overwhelmed. He's a very good player.
Coach Swinney, this is Lane Higgins at the Wall Street Journal, and I've just got a question about kind of this weird year, this weird week, in that players on the two deep sometimes change at last minute with coronavirus, and obviously with Tuesday being a different schedule this week. I'm curious, how much are you incorporating those two factors, particularly that you might not know who you're facing, on offense or defense come Saturday? How much does that factor into your game planning in a given week, and for this week specifically?
Yeah, well, we just, we get ready for who we think we're going to see, and regardless of if the personnel changes, they're still going to do what they do. They're not going to, if you wake up on Saturday morning and somebody at Notre Dame's out, they're not going to change their defense if number 9 is out of the game. So they're going to run the next guy in there because they got a lot of good ones. We just have to be prepared for who we're playing, schematically and those type of things. But you just do the best you can. I mean, from our perspective, how we rep our guys, how we develop and try to get guys ready to play, each week during practice, because you just never know. Fortunately, we've been very, very fortunate around here. Obviously, with Trevor, but that's, he's a guy that's gotten a lot of headlines, but everybody's dealing with the same thing, but we've been very fortunate. So you just have to have the next guy ready to go. Simple as that, and we've had several guys out, whether, for injuries. And so I just have to look at it like an injury. That's just how you have to go about it. And next guy's got to be prepared to go play. So, we always challenge our guys every year to prepare as if you're the starter, to prepare to go win the game. But I think that's been heightened even more this year. And I think our guys have done a nice job of buying into what they got to do to get themselves ready to play one play or to have to go, win the game. So that's really all you can do.
This is Dennis Dodd from CBS Sports. Kind of dovetailing on Gene's question, how far has Notre Dame come since that semifinal game you played against them? Because you handled them pretty well that night.
Well, I mean, we had some big plays. I mean, if you really watch the game, I mean, it was a tough game for both teams. But we hit some really big plays and got control of the game. And once we got control of the game, I mean, our defense, we're a hard team to come back on. And but Ross had a couple huge plays. Renfro, T had the huge play right before the half, and next thing you know, boom, it's 21-3 or whatever, and it was a pretty special group. But both teams were playoff teams, and that was really the difference in the game that night. Was just few big plays that we hit, and that they didn't, and they had some opportunities. So, that's usually what it comes down to in those type of games, is a few plays. I know sometimes you can look at the scoreboard and things and say, oh, well, you killed them, but it's usually just a few plays. And in that particular game, it was a few big plays. So, we were fortunate to win the game, but Notre Dame's excellent. And, I mean, I don't know let's see, when was that, 2018? I mean, how many games have they lost since then? So, they don't lose very much. I know that. So they're the fourth-ranked team in the country for a reason. They've earned it. Not just this year, but all the way back. I mean, Brian's done an awesome job. They're incredibly consistent as a program, and they believe in what they do and how they do it, and they've just won. That's really it. I mean, I don't really see anything different. Of course, they had a bunch of veterans on that team, but they're still built in the trenches, both sides of the ball. Got an incredible OL and DL, same quarterback. Got big guys at receiver that they throw 50-50 balls to. Tight ends are heavily involved and physical. Good run game, obviously. That's how they're built. And then defensively, they get after you. So pretty much the same. You got to win your matchups. You got to make some plays. You're not going to just tiptoe through the lilies and beat these guys. You got to make some plays.
Thank you.
Dabo, go ahead.
Dabo, Larry. Oh, go ahead, Dave.
No, Larry, I understand.
All right, sorry. Dabo, Trenton Simpson had 29 snaps, I believe, Saturday. How beneficial do you think that sort of trial by fire was for him, particularly if Mike Jones is limited Saturday?
Yeah, certainly not a negative thing. That's for sure. It's a real positive for him, and he's been developing, all along, and obviously, and he's had some good moments, but obviously his role was bigger this past week, and it's not going to do anything to stunt his growth. That's for sure. Just going to continue to help him develop. He's a really, really talented young player. There's a lot going on for him, and he's still, there's a big knowledge gap and learning curve that he's going through. But that was a great experience for him, to be able to draw on as he continues to move forward this season.
fan. When did you first kind of have a good idea that you could land DJ? I mean, obviously going out to California, you guys are recruiting much more nationally, successfully the last few years, but getting a big-time recruit from California is not the tradition at Clemson. What do you think was sort of the connection? I know he's talked a lot about his faith and how much that connection with you helped his decision as well. Is that sort of something that you saw as it went along?
Yeah, we weren't, as you said. I mean, we don't waste a lot of time in recruiting. I mean, we'll check on every great player, but we don't like to practice recruiting. That's for sure. But in DJ's case, Brent was actually out recruiting a backer, and the coach Negro there at Bosco, what a great guy he is, and I think he said something to Brent like, hey, I got this quarterback, he's pretty dadgum good, and he had he probably had 70 offers at the time, and he's like, he's got all these offers, but Clemson hadn't offered him, and that's the other thing, we don't just offer guys, especially at that position without, really knowing much about them, but the coach said, he said, he really likes Clemson, and so he reaches out to Streeter. I think Brent gave him the number, reached out to Streeter, and Streeter looked at him and was like, yeah, I mean, he's a great player, but listen, hey, we're not, would he really be interested in Clemson? And the coach was like, hey, he loves Clemson. I'm just letting y'all know. He loves Clemson, and he really wants y'all to recruit him. So Streeter went out there, and so we started recruiting him, and once we started talking to him, we could tell. I mean, you can just talk 5 seconds to DJ and tell how honest and how sincere he is. And he was very sincere from the get-go, why he was interested in Clemson, et cetera. And so then he came in the summer to our camp, and so it was probably that summer when I first realized, hey, we got a real shot at this kid, and so he's special talent, and and he told me pretty early that he felt like Clemson was where he belonged, but just was going through the process and wanted to make sure. He's a very, very intentional young man, and so he's special. Really, really glad we got him. That's for sure.
Hey, Dabo, it's Luna with Clemson 24/7. How much have you found that defensively they're blitzing their linebackers and safeties this year, and then just what kind of situations have you seen that they're using Isaiah Foskey, I think number 7?
Yeah, they're not a huge blitz team. I mean, I think they're, maybe somewhere between 30-35%. So they have not had to pressure a ton. But they've got their rabbit package that we call, where they're going to get their best rushers in the game. And they've been able to haven't had to blitz a lot because they're so good up front. They can bring pressure and get guys to the quarterback. And so if you look at some of these teams and how they've played, I mean, there's been a lot of boots and a lot of sprint outs and a lot of things to create more time. Simply when they bring 4 or 5 man pressure, but those guys up front have been able to get it done. But probably about 30-35%. Where they've had to pressure. Other than that, they're just playing their defense and doing a good job.
Hey, Dabo, this is Grace with The Athletic. Just as a follow-up to David's question on DJ, what do you remember about when he did come to camp and you saw him throw a football live for the first time?
It was unbelievably impressive. I mean, he's obviously he's big, and he was big the first time I met him. But watching him throw the ball, I remember watching him. His hands are huge, but the first time I saw him throw the ball, I mean, he doesn't even grab the laces. I mean, he's just ripping it. And I quickly in camp you get guys and you're lined up, and we don't have helmets on, and you just kind of we got 1,500 kids there. And, you try to get them by class, the seniors and juniors. And, DJ, I guess he was a junior. And man, I quickly realized I went over. I'm like, hey, Jeff Scott was here. I was like, hey, somebody's gonna get hurt. You know, we gotta get this. We gotta get. We can't. He can't just throw the ball to anybody. I mean, it was just different. He's got a cannon, and I think he was trying to really show it off in front of us when he got here. And man, those kids were. It was a tough sight to watch. Some of those guys try to catch those balls, but so my first thought was I better readjust this wide out line here to give us a little better chance. But he, you know, just from the get-go, his poise and his demeanor, his personality, but his gift. He's got a gift. You know, not many people can throw the football like he can.
Scott Fowler from the Charlotte Observer. You've had so much success here in Charlotte over the years, and I know your ultimate goals would go through Charlotte again this year. Given how good Notre Dame is, how likely do you think that you will see this matchup again December 19th in Charlotte?
Well, I mean, we're both, you know, top 5 teams, so I would say it's, you know, could be very likely. You know, this is going to be a heck of a game, and you know, whoever wins it, you don't get to punch your ticket to. We don't have divisions. You know, this is a different year, so you don't have division play where you can say go ahead and win your division, and you know you're going there. So you know, no matter what happens in this game, if you win it, you got more games to play, and if you get beat, that doesn't mean you're out. You know, you just go back to work. Somebody's going to win, somebody's going to lose, and both teams are going to fight and scratch and claw and battle and certainly try to win the game. But you know, we got to get ready for the next week, the next opponent. So this is just the way the year is. I mean, there's no, like I said, with no divisions, every single week is playoff football when it comes to trying to get to Charlotte. And that's what that's our number one goal, is to win this league. Anything that comes after that, great. But our number one goal is to try to win the conference. Usually it's win the division, you know, win the state championship, win the conference. Well, now, you know, we don't have a division. We're not getting to play our state rival. So the next goal for us is win this league. And so for us to do that, we got to get to Charlotte. And so this would be a huge step in that direction, you know, for both teams. But for both teams, there's more work to do. I mean, it's just that simple. I mean, we got to go to Tallahassee. We're going to have a tough Pitt team. We got to go to Virginia Tech. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, we want to win it, want to be 8-0, but we got more work to do to get there. But I think there's a good likelihood when you got two really, really good teams. There are decent odds that we could play again, but you just got to stay focused on where you're at in the moment. Be great where your feet are. It's what we say all the time, and every week is a season of its own. It's a life of its own. It's a journey of its own, and then you move on. And then you look up at the end of the year, and hopefully you're in that situation where you got a chance to play for the championship. So, you know, it's a fun game. It's a great matchup. Like I said, this is great college football, you know, opportunity. But you know, we'll have another game afterwards, God willing.
Dabo, it's Pete again. You know, you've touched on what a different year this is at times. I mean, obviously today the players have off to go vote. Why do you think there was more of a willingness for people in charge to want to listen to athletes on things like that? Because I can't imagine 20, 30 years ago, if somebody brought that stuff up, that people would pay that much attention to it. It seems like we're in a different climate now.
Well, I mean, we are. I mean, 20, 30 years ago, you know, I wouldn't be looking at a iPad. We didn't have iPads. You know, I mean, you actually talked to people, and you know, it was more local stuff. You didn't have social media. You didn't have the ability to, you know, communicate the way we do now. So, just I think certainly, you know, a reaction to the voice of the players and something that was important. And so here we are. But again, we don't have many guys from Clemson. Our guys, our Paul Journey's done an awesome job since the summer and coordinating with our players and getting everything set up for them to vote, because again, most of these guys have to do absentee voting. But just I guess the biggest thing is just the change in the way people communicate than the way it was 20, 30 years ago.
Hey, Coach, it's Trevor again. Cornell Powell's been great all season, and of course you said he had as good a camp as anybody, but he really stepped it up on Saturday. 11 catches for 105 yards, both career highs, several catches on third down. Just how good was it to see him rise to the occasion with Frank and Joe limited?
Yeah, it's good to see. Cornell's worked his tail off, and he's just grown up. He's grown up. He when he first got in here, I think he thought it was going to be a little easier than it was, and just had a lot to learn and had a lot of work to do, and really just refining some things technically, and then just playing fast, because he's a fast kid. The kid can run, but he just didn't always play fast, and then it was incredibly competitive. All the guys that were in front of him are all playing on Sunday. They're all in the NFL. So when he came in here in 2016, there were some guys here, Dion and Ray and Renfro and T. Higgins, and then Ross comes in, and Ross, he's a high level kid as well, and so he's had to kind of battle and compete and work for his opportunity, and I'm just proud of him because he hung in there, and it's just awesome to see. And he did. He had the best camp. He was awesome in camp. He had a sense of desperation to him, and because he knows this is his opportunity to really play, and not just play, but show that he can be an elite player. And he's just really, really refined and developed, and has learned how to use his skills. He's a big, strong kid, but it's just great to see him, finish on some plays like he did this past week. He was awesome. Absolutely awesome. And again, that's the way the game was going to have to go. We're going to line up and run the ball on those guys. Too many unblocked guys. We were going to have to, we're going to have to make plays. DJ was going to have to make plays, and those receivers are going to have to make plays, and in particular, they're going to have to make some big plays, some tough catches, and they did that. So he's been awesome. He's been a really good leader for us, and hopefully he can continue to have the type of season that he's had, because he has put the work in, and really proud of him.
Hey, Josh from the Post-Courier. As the season has progressed, have you thought back on how it was actually your players who were kind of at the forefront that we want to play movement, especially now that you're at this game that you said is actually what college football is all about? Have you reflected back on that at all?
Only when I get asked about it. I can easily take myself back to camp. I think it was our third practice, and we were having a ball, and man, we were just so excited. We didn't know our schedule, didn't know who we played, we didn't know anything, and and then all of a sudden there was just this kind of movement in another direction of, hey, we're going to send everybody home and we're not going to play, and I'm proud of our guys, for changing the narrative a little bit, that kids are being made to do stuff, all this type of thing, and they didn't want to be here, and they were fearful. Our guys are, that wasn't anything close to the reality, and it was cool to see our guys, speak out on that. But I hadn't spent much time reflecting on it or anything like that. We're just, just trying to enjoy the moment, get ready for this game, and week to week. But it's awesome. We're going into Game 8, and again, our guys have we certainly embraced and knew that there were going to be some challenges to have to navigate this year, very different, and we've embraced that. And we don't make any excuses. We've had a bunch of players out, but hey, it just, nobody cares. Let's just stay focused on what we control, and let's get ready to go put our best foot forward each and every week. with whoever we got. And, our guys have done an awesome job. They really have. And so I'm just really proud of this team, their effort. And what I saw last week was just special. And I can't tell you how many text messages I've gotten from coaches and other people who really understand the game and have really been on this side of things and how hard it is, just the respect to see the will to win from our team in a really tough situation. It's a special group. I'm proud as heck of them, and glad I get a chance to coach them and see them play, and they're getting a chance to do something that they love to do, and hopefully we can continue to play well, and no matter what happens the rest of this year, this is a historic team in my eyes.
Hey, Dabo, David with ESPN. Sorry if I'm belaboring this point. Can you kind of run through how you approached the Trevor Lawrence situation, or how you got the information about what his timeline would be? Like, I guess some folks are just a little, up in the air about why the cardio test might take a little bit longer, and some of that stuff I think is probably new to everybody. I'm just wondering if you could kind of take us through how you learned the details of the situation.
Well, I've known the details of the protocols for a while. We've had a couple other players that have had the virus that, again, same thing. When they get out of their quarantine, 10 days, then there's a cardiac piece. Some guys take a little longer than others, some guys, but there's a minimum amount of time that you have to go through before you can put them back into play. So that I've known that protocol. But as far as Trevor, I found out the trainer called me and said, hey, he's tested positive, and I didn't really spend much time talking to him about it, to be honest with you. It's not a whole lot of discussion. There's not really anything you can say. And then my mindset was, all right, we got to need to let DJ know, call Trevor, make sure he's fine, and then we just went to work. And then, later on, the doctors, kind of say, hey, when does his day start? Because it's like the onset of symptoms or when you test positive, all that stuff. I don't get into the weeds of any of that. They just say, hey, you meet with them the next day or whatever, and they'll say, okay, here's when he should be able to get out, and here's going to be the protocol, and I don't really know what's confusing about it. It's pretty cut and dry. You got 10 days, and then you've got a cardiac piece, and it's not something that you can rush. They have to ramp that up. I mean, I'm not a doctor. I don't really get into the weeds of that. They just tell me who can play. So they told me on I guess Friday, that he would definitely be out for the Notre Dame game. They didn't think that he would be able to get through the cardiac part. So that's really it.
That's exactly what I was looking for. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Hey, Dabo, it's Phil Kornblue with Sports Talk. Just going back to the Trevor thing last week, you've kept things really buttoned up information-wise about injuries and things related to COVID. Were you surprised that information got out in the public before you guys could say anything? Was it your plan to wait until Saturday to just release his name on the list like you have for previous games?
No, we certainly know that that would have been something that was going to get out. Just too many people, chit chat and talk, or tell your parents or whatever it is. So it was something I definitely wasn't going to wait till Saturday morning. But we went out and put something out, I guess, that night, and moved on.
We'll take one more for Coach.
Hey, Dabo, again, I know you talked previously about number 14, Kyle Hamilton, being one of the best safeties you've seen. Just what about him and his game is so impressive?
Well, he's long. I mean, he's Isaiah Simmons-ish type of guy. Just really, really long, athletic, can do a lot of different things back there. He's a very smart, knowledgeable player. He's rarely out of position. He can play the ball well. He's physical. I mean, he's fast. I mean, he moves well. I mean, he's a big kid. He's 6'4". So just a really, really good football player that's can cover a lot of ground.
All right. With that, we will conclude today's press conference. Thank you all for joining us.
All right. Thank you.